Back to the daily grind, and shout out to the full-time patrons. Make sure to hit subscribe if you're new and hit thumbs up if you're not a baby back bagel biting bitch boy, cause you know what time it is. It's full time.
MMA.
And the notorious Artem Lobov has spoken and claimed his rightful throne as the Jesus Christ of MMA. His own words, he claimed the throne. We've been waiting. He's already, we already knew about Artem Lobov. We were the ones that were, it's not like Artem Lobov came out and just claimed this himself. The fans, the people spoke, and Artem Lobov has now accepted his title. Now let's get into this. Artem Lobov says, people talk about Artem Lobov's 12-11 record, or on Sherdog it's 13-14. They talk about this record, and people look at records and they say, oh, that must mean he sucks. The fuck out of here. When you look at Artem Lobov's record, they should call it the Warrior Bible. That's what Artem Lobov says, and I got to admit, man, he makes a fucking great point, and a lot of people don't understand where he's coming from. And now let me get into this, because you guys think people are kidding when they call Artem Lobov the GOAT. No, he is. He's going to be fighting Bruce Leroy coming up at UFC 223 on the Fight Pass prelims, and it's going to be a banger. The people's main event on Fight Pass, Artem Lobov versus Alex Caceres. Let's go, can't wait. Now let's get into the Warrior Bible. As you can see to the right of the screen, we've got the Warrior Bible. This is Artem Lobov's record. He fought Andre Fili, Cub Swanson. All of these fights are in the UFC right here on the left. He's got Teruto Ishihara, Chris Avila. Do you know who Chris Avila is? That is one of Nate Diaz's teammates. Now come on! One of Nate Diaz's teammates. Artem Lobov has a W. Just GOAT. Now, you look at his other fights, and now let's just get into the record, all jokes aside. Essentially what Artem Lobov is saying is, my record's not padded. I get in there and I fight whoever, I fight whenever, and yeah, I might take a L, and he does make a good point. If you look at the other names, you might not recognize all of the names on Artem Lobov's resume, but some of these guys, if you actually clicked on them and checked their resumes, they're like 21-10 when they fight Artem Lobov. It's not like he's fighting guys that are like 2-2 or guys with losing records. You'll see that on some people. They'll be like 8-2 and or 8-0, and they'll get to the UFC and lose their first 2 fights. And you'll go and check out who their wins were against, and it's guys that were like 3-12 or 5-5. You know what I'm saying? So some people do have somewhat padded resumes, and so if Artem Lobov did that, you've seen this, it's not just Artem Lobov, it's a joke because he's Conor McGregor's teammate. That's why we're calling his resume the Warrior Bible. If you want to get into the real Warrior Bible, actually let's do that now. I'm not going to elaborate on Artem Lobov, you get it, but he did say they should bring up my record and call it the Fighter Bible, the Warrior Bible. All of those guys with padded records should read it every day, and they should put my picture on their wall as the Jesus Christ of MMA. And there's a lot of people that, and we already covered it, a lot of their resumes, yeah, they look good on paper. They might be 8-0, they might be 10-0, hell, they might be 16-0, but who have they really fought? That's a good point. But now let's take Artem Lobov out of it. People are proclaiming him because, as I said, he's Conor McGregor's teammate, so he's got a lot of fame, and he does have an interesting record. But check this out. If you want to talk about his point, the point is true. Some motherfuckers pad the records. If you want to talk about people who don't pad the records, you got to look at the people like the Artem Lobovs, the Nate Diaz's of the world, or my boy Gamebred Jorge Masvidal. Some people don't have the luxury of picking their fights. They're actually fighting to pay their bills. They're actually fighting to feed their family. So if the phone rings, hey, will you come over here and fight this guy? Yves Edwards or Paul Daly. We know him in the UFC now, but a lot of people would turn those fights down outside of the UFC. Jorge Masvidal, he's got some people on his record. Those are 2 of the names that come up, but let's check him out. I pulled him up. I pulled up the actual Fighter Bible. If we're going to talk about somebody who's got a hell of a resume, he's beat impressive people his entire career, and he's still one of the best fighters in the world, and he was actually raised up as a fighter, we got to talk about Jorge Masvidal, Gamebred. He's not going to get the recognition of Artem Lobov because he's not Conor McGregor's teammate, but this, in my opinion, is what you would look at for like a real fighter's Bible. Jorge Masvidal came up from the motherfucking streets, backyard fights with Kimbo, throwing hands with dudes, no weight classes, street fight, straight brawling in the backyard, all the way to becoming a professional fighter, a professional mixed martial artist, and now he's only 33 years old with a resume of 33 wins and 13 losses. He's only 2 years older than Artem Lobov, and he's probably got about double the fights, and he's a more impressive even record as far as, you know, Artem Lobov's about 500. Jorge Masvidal's been doing the same thing. His record is not padded by the least. You know, whenever I brought up some of those names, you see, he fought Rustam Kabalov. That's another guy a lot of fighters would probably turn down. Jorge Masvidal don't turn down fights. He's fought Michael Chiesa in his first fight in the UFC, Tim Means. Second fight, Michael Chiesa. Jorge Masvidal's had a hell of a path. Before the UFC, he's fought the likes of Paul Daly, the Yves Edwards. There's other names on his resume, and he's beat some of them. And then when you want to talk about Jorge's losses, the 13 losses, I'm willing to bet you half of those losses or more are robberies. He's lost a lot of split decisions where it makes you go, huh? You know, the crowd booed whenever the judges gave the win to Ali Aquinta and other fights. Jorge Masvidal, out of his 13 losses, 6 or 7 of them are probably split decisions, and probably up to 8 of them are all controversial. You know, you might have scored the fight for game bread. But with that being said, he don't have the politics behind him. He don't always get his hand raised for whatever reason. But that is what Artem Lobov is talking about when he's talking about a fighter's Bible, someone who doesn't pad their record, and that is true for Artem Lobov. I looked it up before the fight. When he's fighting guys, he's not just fighting guys with losing records. He's getting in there and throwing down with legitimate featherweights. It might be outside the UFC, and now in the UFC, clearly, Artem Lobov's not. He's probably not like the best pound-for-pound fighter, even top 15. But he's still a fighter that gets in there and throws down with whoever, and his record shows it. So with that being said, Artem Lobov is the GOAT. Let the full-time family know what you think in the comments, and make sure you go check out Patreon. I've been putting a lot of stuff over there for free, as I told you guys. I just want to show you what it's going to look like. There's going to be free content over there. Make sure you go check some of that out. I'm about to put a couple of videos over there only, but they're going to be free. So go check them out. Patreon.com/fulltimemma. There's free. It's free, brother. It's free. Go check it out. And as always, thanks for watching this video. If you enjoyed this video, make sure you hit the subscribe button and also hit the notification bell right next to it so you're notified every time I upload a video. I'm out.
Da 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 da. It's the motherfucking D-O-double-G.